Hello everyone, and we are now live streaming some coding for aliasnerd.com development. Well, we have done quite a bit this last month of development, and I think because it's about 30 days now since we started, we didn't work on it the entire time. We worked on it every few days, and we took a week off actually to work on something else. But essentially, in a time frame of 30 days, we're going to be able to push our minimum viable product at the MVP up to a production server. Now I'm going to want to do a few things before we do that. So I'm going to jump into the code here and just see if we can clean up a couple things. I don't know if we'll be able to. The first thing I'm going to check is if in the gem file, I want to see if we have um, the Rails 12-factor gem, which is right here. So we do have that. And we're using the Puma web server, so that's all good. And these are all some things like the Rails 12-factor is not required in Rails 5, which is coming out soon. But as of right now, we're working in Rails 4, and we do require it. So that's good that we have it in there. The PG I know that we have because we're using Postgres in our development. So everything is pretty much going to work just transferring over to Heroku production environment. So it should be fine. I just wanted to verify that we had that set up. The next thing I'm going to do is just look in the migration file because once we throw it up to production and I start, saving bits of information into production here, I'm going to want to not change the database all that much. And if I do change the database, like I'm not restricted to changing the database, but if I do change it, I want to make changes forward thinking or like moving forward. I don't want to go and change things that I've already done with the migration files. So I think that was the most complicated way of explaining this, but I think in essence what I'm doing here is I'm just checking the migration files to see if I have any things that could be, put together to make this a little bit more condensed. So I have this create projects, so that's fine. The devise, I'm just going to run through these really quick. Just go up to the top here, devise create user, so that's fine. We're going to create the friend ID, which is good. Create the videos, create the adding stripe data to user. Okay, so here. So the adding to user, we have a devise create. So I'm just going to copy all of this down here and say we'll just yank that. Now let's go over to the devise and let's do this. So we have right below here, I'm going to paste this in, scroll down a bit, and let's modify this because we might as well just do it all in one step because we know we're going to want to do it. So let's just change word to t dot, this is going to be a string. And I don't think many people do this step, but I like to. So it's not necessary at all, but at the beginning of the process, what we were doing is just trying to see what would work, what we want to do. And now that we have a good idea what we want to do and we want to throw it to production, we can sort of clean up some of this stuff that we're just testing before. So this is an integer, and boom, boom. I could have left the add column in and just put above that add index, but I'm going to do it a bit cleaner here so it looks better. Integer. Yeah, so this is all the stripe information. So this is going to be string, t.string. Okay, so let's jump back up to the top here, and we don't need this users call because we know what column we're in. So that's 1, 2, 3 words. Delete 3 words, delete 3 words. Whoops. Delete 3 words. I think that will still work. Okay. And keep doing this. Okay. So we have that, and we don't actually need any of this. So it's 1, 2, 3, I think. Good. Go up to the top and do this. And this was not setting any of those to null, so we can have them null, so that's fine. I'm actually going to add an index for the subscription ID and the stripe ID. I don't think I'm going to save this and just check back here. I'm just trying to figure out because did I add, okay, this is adding Stripe to the user, right? This is the one I'm replacing, yeah. So create charge, that's a brand new table, that's fine. Create, that's that other one we did. This is the access votable, that's fine. Create voters. Okay, all those are fine. So one thing is, I think I do quite a bit of searching on the subscription ID to see how many people have subscribed. And I also do searching on the Stripe ID to get the actual customer. So I'm wondering if adding the indexes would be a good idea. I think so. How often would I do this? How often do I do the Stripe ID? I know I do the subscription ID a lot. It's every single request. So that one is definitely going to need one. So I'm just going to add that index here. Change word, Stripe. There we go. Have that tabbed in. And I don't need this unique. That's for sure. Actually, no, let's not have it unique. There's no need for that. So that's actually going to be an easier index to create. The Stripe ID, let me think about this. So the Stripe ID is used when you're getting the customer, and we get the customer only when, like once a month, say. Or just when, it might even just be when they first set up the subscription. So, you know, I don't think it's needed. I don't think we need an index for that. It'll take a little bit longer to search it up, but we're not writing there that often. So, and we don't want to have the overhead of a whole index every time somebody does create a user and update a user, which happens a lot. We don't want it to update that particular index every time. So I'm just going to leave that. I'm going to save that. So we have that done. And all the rest of them, I don't think we're doing anything else. So that's fine. So I can get rid of this add stripe thing. So I'm just going to close this out, and let's go ahead and remove db migrate, and let's just add in, let's see here, so it is the 05 2018, 05 2018, 2651. Oh, I already have that, that's why. 5 2018. There we go. So we're gonna remove the add stripe data to users. So that should be fine. Okay. So now what I'm going to do, now that I've done that, go in here and I want to add a couple things to. What did we do? We did config nerd, right? Okay. So config nerd, I want to do a few different things here. So I'm going to do a string and let's see here. I'm gonna create a string for a video add ID. Okay, and that one can be false. And then we're going to do a string for a video call it custom, wait, video temp ID. Okay, and then I'll do another one just because of video stream URL. I think because I'm just going to get this right first. Whoops. Stream URL. Okay, let's go over here and let's look at the layout. Oh, it's got to cache all this. So we're going to look at the layout. What was this? Oh no, the welcome, not layout. It's welcome the page index. And Okay, YouTube embed. Okay, so that's just a standard YouTube embed with a video ID in it. So I'm just going to look at the video show page and YouTube embed video ID. Yep, that's it. Okay, so I don't need to do the whole URL. This can just be the ID. So we have the live flag, and okay, so this is the way I'm thinking it's going to work. There's going to be a live flag. When the live flag is set to false, it's going to check if there's a temp ID in here. If there is a temp ID, that's the video it's going to show. If there isn't a temp ID, it's going to show the add ID, so which is a video that's sort of like the default video that will play. If the live flag is set to true, it's just going to show the streaming ID. So whatever stream ID is set, that's what it's going to show. So for now, I don't have this set up at all as a view in the app. That's fine as long as the database is set up to accept these things. And this is how I can control what video is showing on the home screen. And maybe in the future this will get extended out. But for right now, based on this last week of me just contemplating how I want things to go, these are the probably the features or the parameters that I want to start off with this minimum viable product, just to see how things work. And then once I understand the app better in the wild, then I can change or add things at that point. So now I think I've got everything working for the whoops. So I'm going to save this, close out of this, and then save this, close out of that. Perfect. So let's just run just to double check some things. Rake db drop, db create, and db migrate. We're just going to run through and see if we can do that and have the whole thing migrate over, because that's pretty much what we changed is the migration files in this case. Perfect. So now we can run rake test and just see what happens there. If the database was set up correctly, it will just all run perfectly fine. Now, if the database all of a sudden we missed something there when we deleted a file, then it's going to say, well, I can't really do this because you screwed up the database. So we'll just see, and it looks like we already do have an error. Interesting. Okay, so the welcome controller, undefined method liked for user. So obviously, I thought I had fixed that in the last one, but good thing we ran this test. So we'll go over and check out the welcome controller. So this is going to be the old way that we did the like button. We just called it on the user because we accessed everything from the user. And we changed that. So let's go through here and say, so it's obviously in the subs panel, I'm guessing. Just want to make sure. I thought it said it in here. Okay. So subs panel, unless I totally skipped over that, I should have. Okay, so we got liked button, current user subscribed. So I should have checked where that came from. So let's quit out of here and just see. So it came from, welcomes controller, line 7. Makes a lot more sense. Welcome controller. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Current user liked equals true. Do I even need this? Where is that current user liked? Oh, I was using that in the welcomes helper. Let's just open that up. Yeah, I changed it. I'm pretty sure that's where I used it. I'm pretty sure I changed it to voter has voted, which is a much nicer way. It's its own model. Boom. Okay, so let's run that again. Now that code coverage of 98.53%. I know where that's coming from. It's the non, I think it is the voted code. It's where it said if voted in the controller there, or no, in the helper there. So that's fine. We'll just leave that for now. So all the tests are running perfectly. Um, we could go in actually and change one thing before we upload it. What's the time looking like? 15 minutes. All right, so in here we have, let's just jump right into the welcome index. And you can see that we have the ID here hard-coded. So I'm going to change this, change word, and then we're going to do, how do we do this? Number sign, curly braces. And in there, this is at config nerd dot video stream ID. Actually, how do we want to do this? So I'm not even going to do that. I'm going to do video home ID. Okay. I think that should work. I don't know why it's showing up like that. I'm just going to save this, go over to the video show. Yeah, see, why is this one? Oh, I see. I see. Okay. Because I'm not actually inside of a, yeah, I'm not in there. Okay, so. How can this work? Let's get rid of this. And let's get rid of this. Whoop. And let's reorganize all of this. So we're going to say, we're going to delete that from there and move it all the way down to here. Perfect. And I can get rid of this. Bear with me here a second, guys. Just want to. And then I can add this here. So I'm going to insert an equal sign, a curly brace, and then we're going to put this string with this video home ID there into this line of code here, this iframe, unless it is the development environment. So now we just need the video home ID. So I'm just going to save that and go into the welcome controller. And here we're going to do the at video home ID. And we're going to have that equal if at config nerd dot how did I say this? We'll split screen here and do application controller config nerd. Okay, but I need to get the how is this working here? Config nerd. There we go. Okay, so this is if config nerd live, then this is going to be equal to config nerd.live, else if video temp. This may be a better way to do it, but for now this will work. Video temp ID. And this is going to be else at config nerd.video add ID. There. It's a bunch of junk just to say video home ID, but that's sort of the logic behind what video is going to be shown and where. So I'm just going to save that, and we will close all of this and run rake test again. Just waiting for that. Good. One last sanity check. I'm going to go to Rails S, and we'll just test it out on the server, and then we are ready to upload it. Okay, so I'm just going to refresh the localhost 3000 now that we have the Puma server running. And the upload does take a little bit of time only because it has to install everything. The first time takes the longest. Every time you upload your code afterwards for revisions, it takes much less time. Interesting, very interesting. Never seen this. Okay, so I see. So we do need to just pass in a blank string there. That's cool. It looks nice. Everything seems to be working. All our tests passed, so that's fine. We did find this error, but that's because we're not testing for that. So let's go through and fix that. So I'm just going to create a new tab, go into Vim, and all we have to do is pass it a blank. Where do I want to do that? I can do a catchall. Yeah, because I'm just passing in the one thing. Okay, let's do a catchall. So we'll just do it over here. So I'm going to do again. I'm not entirely pleased with how this is going to work in this welcome controller, but so we'll do the welcome controller, and the way that I'm going to do the catchall is up here. I'll do at video. Yeah, that might be a bit messy. So I can just do it here just so it's easier to read. So we can say else if at config config nerd dot video add. I'm pretty sure you can do this in a case. I'm just wondering, but for whatever, for now it's working. And then we'll just do an else, return a blank string. Perfect. Yeah, because we're checking if this exists and then showing this, but we can't really do it in a case because we have to check in a certain order, and that's sort of what that is doing. So it looks messy, but it works. So now that that is like that, we can go into here and just refresh this. You can see that will be a blank thing there. No, it isn't. Oh yes, because I check if it says live. But I have live set to false, I thought. Let's just check this out here. Inspect element. So this SRC is showing up as that. Video home ID. Okay. So let's go into that page. Welcome index. Oh, it's because of this unless. I wonder if so I can actually just get rid of this unless and just do it. Oh no, I want it to be unless. I see what's going on here. Hmm. So I can add the here. The main thing is that these are missing, but now it's going to double them up. Um, so I don't need that one, but I do because, no, I do. Let's just see if that works. It's really, really messy because it's going to have to double quotes now. The way around it is to do it the way I had it before, where you say, unless it's a development environment, then do all that, else do the brackets, which is going to be a more code, but it's a cleaner way of doing it. So let's do it that way. So I'll say if rails.env.development question mark, boom, boom. Then I will do insert that, else. Do that, and then I can actually get rid of this. Oh, I can get rid of this too. And just stick this in. Okay, so this is going to, if it is Rails development, just stick in a blank string, else stick in the actual string with the video home ID in there. Okay, so now I can go back here and get rid of this. So that was just repetitive. Stick that in there, delete this, and save that. Okay, so that change should make this work now. Oh, I forgot the end. So let's go add that in real quick right here. Okay, so we're just going to end this. Yeah, a lot more code there, but at least it does it properly. And that mess up was 100% for the development environment. On production, we wouldn't have had that little hiccup there. So we can like this, even though we're not logged in or anything. This should work. And it did. We have a like. Perfect. Okay, so now that I have that, what I'm going to do is quit all of this, run rake test to make sure it works, and we're going to commit all those changes up to GitHub. Then we'll set up Heroku, which is going to be our production environment, and then push our code to Heroku. Perfect. Okay. So what we're going to do now is, and that code coverage, I was just looking at that, it's 97% now. It went down, and that's because we added the code for changing out the video ID, which is easy code to write back in. But today's video is supposed to be getting this onto Heroku, so that's what we're going to do. So we're going to get status just to make sure we understand all the files that changed. So we're going to get add. We did two different things here, but I'll just commit it in one. So we have a message saying refactored. I think this is spelled refactor. Refactored. No, toward. I don't think it's toward. I'm going to check that out just so I don't look so stupid. So refactored. Retord. Okay. The migration files and updated the video iframe on the welcome index page. Boom. Get status. Okay, so now we're going to push, we'll git push that to the origin master. So this is going to push it all the way to GitHub, origin master. So we'll see that up there, and then in here we have the code. So we refactored the migration files. That's perfect. Now what we can do is turn this into a Heroku project. So, and all that's going to do, we're going to run the command Heroku, which is the service we're going to use for the production environment. And I've downloaded a little program, bash program called Heroku Tools, I think it's called, or something along those lines. And this is going to allow us to have a few commands that will work with Heroku. And the first being create, which is just going to set up some of the things required to, talk to the Heroku services using Git. It's going to set up a URL path for us to communicate back and forth on. And I'm pretty sure it sets up the SSH and all that kind of stuff. So, oh no, it takes care of login for us, because when you set up the Heroku tool, it asks you for your username and password for Heroku, the service, and that's what it uses to communicate back and forth and authenticate. So pretty much all this is, we're just going to hit Heroku create on this project. And it's going to go through and do all the, it's actually going to communicate with Heroku, set up a whole application on that service, give it a name, give it a domain. Oh, we failed. Um, oh, I've never run into an error like this before. Could not commit. So let's just run git config list. We'll grep for, see if I already have something set up here. We're going to also grep for the word Heroku in the config list. Wonder what's going on there. So maybe I've already done this, actually. I'm just wondering. I don't think I have. I almost swear I haven't, because we would have had it on video. Failed get remote add. Well, it seems to be there. We'll try that again, I guess. And if not, we'll have a fun little thing to look up on how to solve. So usually this just works. I've never had this issue before. I've done this many times. Oh, there we go. What the heck? So this is exactly what you want to see. You want to see it created the app. In this case, it called it Gentle Tundra. So it might have just been an error on, I don't know what that error would have been, because it created the app. And then let's go look at the, I'm just going to see. So I'm going to the git config grep Heroku. So something has gone wrong here. Could not commit. Okay, so what we're going to do, it has created both of these. See, it said failed to get add remote. Weird. So what happens typically is you create the app and then it creates the Git remote for you. In this case, I only have the one Git remote Heroku is set to intense basin. So the intense basin app, this is just a random name they give you just to keep all the apps separate. It just throws a random name at you. So it said it failed to create it, but then it's right here. And when I tried it again, it gave me a different name. It set the app up perfectly, just like it did before, but weird. So what I'm going to try and do here is, I did the URL. Let's just try and push the code up. So we have those errors. Let's just do git push. And usually we do origin, and origin is the GitHub URL, because that's the way that's the very first thing that's set up. It's set up off of origin. But what we just did there was created a brand new route or remote called Heroku. So we can git push to Heroku, and we'll push the master branch to Heroku. Let's just see if it works, because it said we got that weird error, but who knows? Let's just see. So it's pushing it somewhere, so we know that something's happening. Okay, so it's good. So it seems to be working. So let's just see where it put it. It most likely is going to put it in the intense basin, but we'll see. It's going to go through. This is what I mean. The first time you do it, it takes a while because it has to install all the different gems onto the server. But we'll get there. Okay, let's see. Do we have an error? Nope, not yet. Gems are installed. That we don't need to worry about that bundler thing, so we're good for the for everything there. Okay, what's that? Assets. Okay, the assets were written. That's not usually done every time. That's good. It's compressing all the code, which is done. Launching, verifying, deploy. Everything worked. Okay, so it is working on. It's really odd why we got that error up at the very beginning, but it seemed to just work. Okay, so we have that done, and it's all up on the production server, and it's under the this is the Git URL, but it's under the URL here. So I'm just going to let's just see if I can click that and see what happens. Technically, it should open up here. We'll just do this for you. And now this is going to fail because we have to set up the database, but we can do copy link address and just show you what happens at this stage of the game, just so you see all the different things. So it's saying sorry, but something went wrong. So this is like the 500 server error. This is what that would look like if you've seen this on your production application. So then what I'm going to do is go to here and just run. If we want it, typically we'd run rake db, right, and then migrate. But if we want to run that on our actual production server, the Heroku tools gives us this cool thing where we just say Heroku, and then we'll just tell it to run something on the Heroku server. And because we're inside the alias near directory, and we set up that Heroku crate in this directory, it set up the files so that it knows what to do. So when we run Heroku run, it knows what application we're talking about because we're in the alias near directory. So I can go to a different directory, like another one of my applications, run the exact same command, and it's going to actually access the appropriate application because of it knows where we are because of the setup file in that directory. So we're just going to run Heroku run rake db migrate. So this is going to first communicate with the server, and then it says running this command. So it said that server is up and running, and now it's going to execute the command. Now, originally when you create a Rails application, you have to run like db create to create the database. But because Heroku already knows what database we're using, because it only uses Postgres, it already did that for us. And now we just have to migrate over, and which seemed to work. So now we can go back over to here, and I can just refresh this here. And you can see we have no video set up, which is fine because we didn't set one up. But this is live. This is on the internet now. Okay, it's under Intense Basin. So perfect. We can go to projects, things we've made. We can go to videos. No videos at this time. We can sign in, and we can sign up. Everything looks good. I can go back to here. I can search for something. Nothing was found. Perfect. So we didn't have any errors, and we pretty much executed everything. I can like this, which I won't do yet. Sponsor. This is probably going to take us to the sign up page, which is fine. Okay. Next thing I'm going to do is check the scaling of the web server. So I'm just going to close that down. I'm just going to run this Heroku ps command. So I'm just going to, this is looking at the processes that are set up, and there should already be one set up, and that's the web. Okay, so there is one. What you can do is, if you don't have one, you can run this command called ps scale. So you can have things like your different dynos. They call them dynos, but it's pretty much just, which is a container that's holding all your code. You could run the different types of processes on that. And in this case, I just want to do a web equals 1, which is already set up. But you can have multiple web processes. You can have workers set up. So there's different things we can do here. So we'll just do this because it's already set up, but this is what you do. You type that command in and push enter. Set that up so it's scaling the dynos and everything's up and running and perfect. And then you could run into, also here you get information like this is running a web dyno. It's a free dyno, which means it's sort of capped at a certain amount of visitors per month, I think, or I can't remember how it's capped, but this is just a free tier that I don't have to pay for. This is what it runs when it starts the server, and this is the command that it runs. And that's just sort of, if you had more than one of these, if you have different web ones or different workers, it would all show up here with this Heroku PS command. All right, and then we went directly to the address, but you could just do Heroku open, and it's going to go and open up that thing in a browser. I think we'll just wait here and see what it does. Okay, it didn't open it for us, but I think it's because it's already open. I think if you didn't have it, oh, there it goes. It's just slow. If you were on a better, not a virtual box or a better virtual box, or maybe just on a Mac or something, it would run a lot faster than that. Okay, so now that we have this up and running, it's on production. This is all right. I don't mind this too much, but I'd prefer it if we had our custom domain like aliasnerd.com. So why don't we do that next? So this is going to require a few things. I've already have a domain purchased. I'm using Amazon Route 53 as my DNS service. So I already have all of this set up. So the way that we're going to move forward here is we're going to go into Heroku, and we're going to go into the domains, and we're going to add one. Actually, we're going to add two. The first one is going to be www, that's the subdomain, and then aliasnerd.com, right? And you can add different domains, but it doesn't mean anything at this point because you have to actually own the domain. So you can set this DNS provider, you can set this DNS target on the DNS provider. And this is the target you're going to be setting, but we'll do that in a bit. So we're going to do another one, which I'm not going to finalize today, but it's good to set it up right away, is to add the naked domain. So it's just aliasnerd.com. And this is without the subdomain, which is that www dot. And a subdomain doesn't have to be the www. It could be anything there, like blog.aliasnerd.com or whatever. So you'd have to set all of those up if you want to utilize them properly. But for now, the two main ones is aliasnerd.com and aliasnerd, or www.aliasnerd.com. Wait a minute here. Oh, I think I forgot the S on the domains. There we go. So I don't have any subdomains this time, so that's pretty much where I'm going to leave it, is just with those two. And that seems to be done. So this is not as simple as just pointing a DNS target over. It's actually a little bit more of a process to go a naked domain, and especially on Amazon, which is a little bit different. On some domain hosting providers, they give you an easy way to, utilize naked domains or just route them over to the big one. Amazon's a little bit more complicated, but that's fine. So all we really have to do here is tell Amazon to take the domain that we own and shoot it over to this intense basin. So let's go ahead and do that. Do I have Amazon? Oh, I do right here. Okay, so this is the Amazon DNS hosted zones, I guess they call it. This is where all the DNS settings are. So we can create a record set, and this record set is for www.aliasnerd.com. That's the name. It's going to be a type CNAME, and then we're going to have a value. So this is going to be the value where it's pointing this to. So the way that that works is I'm just going to go back here, copy this. Just trying to see. I've copied it with the dot before. I'm just trying to remember. I don't think we need the dot actually, but I'll just copy this over for now. Here, and then paste it, get rid of that dot. So this is it always works out your app sort of ID name or whatever your given name from Heroku goes there as the subdomain of .herokuapp.com. And that's it. That's all we have to do. So we can just hit create, and it creates it there. So here's the www.aliasnerd.com. Here is the CNAME type pointing to here, and that's pretty much it. You don't need to know too much. There's a lot more that we can do here, but for now it's going to be fine. Let's go and see what can we do here? I think that's all we need to do. So let's just go and check if it even worked. So from here we can do www.aliasnerd.com. Now keep in mind, DNSs often take about 24 hours to like propagate throughout the internet, so you can actually access it from anywhere and it works. But Amazon's such a big player that usually it works really, really quickly. So we'll see, and boom, it's already done. Like it used to be back in the day, you couldn't set the DNS up and then like set it up and then instantly have it work. It used to take a while. I don't know the technology behind it, but it used to take forever, like hours and hours, and they'd say give it 24 hours or more. But using a big company like Amazon, it just works like instantly. So there you have it. There is our live web app that we created in the last 30 days. We probably worked on it in, I don't know, 15 hours or I don't know, I can't remember. Um, and it's pretty good. So we just need to create an admin account so then I can start adding different things like videos and projects. And then I'll just update this so it's a bit better information. We can like this page. That's all working perfectly. And I'm pretty happy with it. So it's going to take a little bit of configuration just on my end as an admin just to get this thing a little bit better. Uploading some or adding some videos and projects to here. So yeah, but I'll leave it there. Where are we at with time? And I'll see, we're about an hour. So there is a process for doing naked domains. Let me just see. So we support, I'm just reading an article here. I'll bring it up here and we'll just read it together. And we might as well just try and do this because it's handy. And just if anyone else is using the Amazon Route 53 and want to transfer their naked domain over, and just as a reminder, that's any domain without the subdomain in front of it, just the aliasnerd.com. You have to do this extra step. So let's just read through and do it together. So it supports Alias records, which uses the Amazon S3 static websites. So I've done this before, where you need the S3 static website to resolve the naked domain to the www counterpart, and it's pretty much just redirecting. So you can use a naked domain with a static website here, which is a whole other service Amazon provides. And if you set that up and then just tell it to forward or redirect over to the subdomain one, that's how they're solving this problem. I'm just going to read through this quickly. So you're going to open up your management console or your S3 management console. In order for the following bucket to appear, then when creating an alias record, you must name the bucket the exact same as the host zone. For example, the host zone is then your bucket is that. Okay. Select the new created bucket, but don't open it. Click the Properties tab and Static Website section. Done. Click Redirect All to that, and you'll see that is pre-filled. If it isn't, type that. Okay. Save the redirect settings and open up S3, for example. Host zone. Okay, create a new record, A type, set alias to yes, select from the S3. Okay. Create the record, your domain, now redirects to that. Perfect. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to go into services and S3 right here, open a new tab, and we're going to create a brand new bucket, and this has to be, the bucket name has to be, you see I've done it for another company here, doc.com. So it's going to be, what is this one? aliasnerd.com. US standard, aliasnerd.com. So create. Okay, I'm going to create another one actually for commish.com because I want that. I haven't done it for that one yet either. And while I'm here, might as well. Okay, so we don't need to open it. We need to go into properties and static web hosting and enable or redirect all requests to www.aliasnerd.com. So we're just going to save that. Saved. Okay, so I'm going to go back into here, and I'm going to do the same one to this one that I just created. So properties, we're in the static web hosting. I'm going to redirect all requests to this naked domain to www.commish save. It's such a weird, like, it's for such a big, huge company. It's such a weird way of doing this. Anytime I've ever done it in the past before I started working with Amazon, it was such an easy little process where it just worked. And this is such a weird worker. It feels like a workaround to make this happen, but whatever. So uh, that's done. I don't think I need to do anything else there. So now we're just going to go into aliasnerd.com. And we're going to create a brand new record. So I'm going to click create brand new record. It's going to be an A record, which is right here, and it's going to be an alias. And alias target is, we're going to look for the S3 website. So this could just take a second while it loads. And there it is, the alias nerd, done. I don't think I was supposed to do anything with the name there, was I? Create a new A record, select alias, yes, select an example from the, that's it. Okay, so now I'm just going to create that. And you can see that we have this A record up here, which is an alias for this website. So essentially what happens is if you hit in the DNS records, if you hit this domain in your address bar up here, it's going to say, okay, that's pointing to this website right here, which is a S3 bucket, which is sort of like, it's another service Amazon offers. So it's a storage service. So this it's going to hit the storage service for that bucket name, the aliasnerd.com, and that is going to tell it, oh wait, this is a redirect bucket or redirect static page, and it's going to redirect over to www.aliasnerd, which is going to hit this record. And this record's going to say, oh, okay, now that one's got to go to Heroku. So it's a little bit weird, but it happens very quickly. It's a map on how to get to where you want the person to go. And nobody ever notices this stuff. This is all just set up in the background on how this would work. And it's very simple for the subdomain one with www, and it's just a little bit of a workaround for the naked domain. But not everybody, this is the reason why you want to do it, is not everybody's going to hit www.aliasnerd.com. What they're going to do is they're going to hit just aliasnerd.com. And if you don't set this extra step up, they're not going to be able to get to your website, whatever your website may be. So that's sort of why we're doing that. While we're here, I'm just going to do this commish one because we already did this before. So we'll create a new record, a record, commish, yes, and target is going to be wait for it. There we go. And create that. Done. Okay, so that is that. We've set that up. That's it. We don't have to do anything else there. So I don't think we changed anything here. So this get status should be good. It is. We have the website working. We should test that out. We have the aliasnerd.com working. And if I go to the naked domain, aliasnerd.com, it redirected instantly. See how quickly this is? It just instantly over. And like I said, Amazon's amazing for their DNS provider because they update everything so quickly. It used to take a whole day or at least a few hours to get that to work. Now it's just instantly. You make the change and it just works. So thanks for watching, everyone. We hit about an hour there. We refactored the migrations to just be a little cleaner. We didn't have to do much. I think there's just one file we got rid of. We did tweak on how to handle this video, whether it's a live video, whether it's an ad, or it's not necessarily an ad. It's more like the default video for the channel, or there's like a special promo video that I might want to be showing that I can just do too. So we set that up that would work inside the config nerd model. We haven't done it, so that's mainly going to be a console setting at this point where I can just add those in the console and then it'll just work up here. And that's that. So thanks for watching, everyone, and we will talk to you later. Have a great weekend and have fun coding. See ya.